In this class and the next few classes, we're going to learn about ARP poisoning. ARP poisoning is just another method of becoming the man in the middle in a network. In previous videos, we saw how we can use the bad USB attack, where we physically connect our Android device to a laptop or to a computer, and by doing that we force all the traffic through our device, which makes us the man in the middle. Once we're the man in the middle, we were able to intercept packets, read them, modify them, drop them, do all that kind of fun stuff. Now, another method of becoming the man in the middle is using ARP poisoning. This is one of the most dangerous and effective attacks. It's very dangerous because you don't need to interact with the target device, or at least the user will not see that interaction. So you're not gonna need to physically plug your device, you're not gonna need to send anything to the user. You will be interacting with the target device, but all that interaction is gonna happen in the background so that the target person will not feel it, will not even know that anything has happened. This attack is possible because when ARP protocol was programmed or made, people did not pay attention to the security side of the protocol. So it's very simple, it's very effective, but it's not secure. Therefore, the attack is possible on all network enabled devices. So as long as the device uses the ARP protocol, then you can attack that device using this method. So whether it's a phone, a tablet, a computer running Windows, Linux, iOS, macOS, it doesn't matter. As long as it uses ARP, which all of them does, then you can use ARP poisoning to become the man in the middle, without sending anything to the target device, without interacting with the user, and without physically interacting with the device. So let's understand and see how this attack works. This is just a normal network, and let's assume this is your home network. So you have a device here, that's the target device that we are trying to attack. Whenever it needs a request, for example, whenever it needs to access Google or Yahoo or anything, it sends the request to a server. So the server, this is your local router. So it doesn't matter whether you're connected on Wi-Fi or using Ethernet, you're always connected to a router. So or a server in a network. So you're gonna send your request to the server. The server is what is connected to the internet. So it's gonna go to the internet, it's gonna get you google.com. Then it's going to give you the reply back, and then you'll have google.com on your computer. Now, the problem with the ARP is that each request or response is trusted. So whenever you send a request and whenever you send a reply, you receive a response, you always, like computers, always trust that response or request. So they don't identify or they don't verify the source where they got the request from. And this is going to come clearer now in the next step. So say, for example, when this device sends something to the router and it tells him that I am computer number 1, for example, the router is going to trust that this is computer number 1 without verifying that this is actually computer number 1. The second problem is that devices can actually accept responses without sending a request. So this device can actually accept responses even without sending requests. So for example, it can actually just get a response telling this device some information, and this device not only is just going to accept it, it's also gonna trust it. It's not gonna verify the information in there, it's not gonna verify the source of information. So these are the main problems with ARP protocol. So, since we can send responses and the device is going to trust whatever information sent in that response, we're going to send a response to the target device telling that device that I am the router. Now, because the device accepts responses, it's going to accept that response, and because it's not going to verify my identity, it's going to trust me and it's going to treat me as the router. Now the way I tell him that I am the router, by just telling him that the MAC address of the router has changed and this is the new MAC address. Now the MAC address, as we said, that it's physical, it never changes, so it should always be the same, but it's going to trust it here and it's not going to even think about anything. As long as I send a response, because ARP trusts everything, it's going to trust the response that I've sent. Now the next step we're going to do, we're going to send another response to the router this time, telling the router that I am the target device. So the router, whenever it needs to send something to this device, it's actually going to send it to me instead of sending it to that device. Again, because it accepts responses and because it doesn't verify what information is there, it's going to accept that and it's going to treat me as this device. Now once we do this twice, we've actually redirected the flow of packets. So every time this device wants to do something, it's going to think that I am the router. So it's going to send the request to me. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to send the request to the router. The router is going to go get me the request, send it back to me because it thinks that I am this device. And then I'm going to forward that request to the target device. So as you can see, it's actually very simple. Two main issues with the protocol allow us to exploit that protocol and redirect the flow of packets, which causes us becoming the man in the middle. And once we are the man in the middle, we can actually do all the attacks that we saw before. And we'll see how we can do them in a different way now in the next lectures.